The first thing I noticed was the Wi-Fi name. I was standing in my own kitchen, holding my coffee, when my phone disconnected from the network I had been paying for 6 years. I opened the list of networks. The name had changed. Not. Now it said. Sarah's house. Sec. And the password had been changed too. For a moment I honestly thought it was some kind of glitch. Maybe the router reset itself. Maybe the company changed something. Then I heard my sister laughing in the living room. That laugh. The one she used when she thought she'd gotten away with something. A week earlier, she had called me crying.
Please,
she said, voice shaking. Just one night. Jason kicked me out again. I have nowhere else to go. Sarah had always been like that. Drama, bad decisions, apologies afterward. But she was still my sister. So I said yes. One night, I told her. Just until you figure things out. She showed up with 2 suitcases. The next morning she said she needed couple more days. Then it became just the weekend. By the 4th day, she had rearranged my living room. By the 5th day, she had invited 2 of her friends over like it was a lounge. By the 6th day, she told the pizza guy to ring the bell because the owner of the house was upstairs. I thought she meant me. Turns out, she meant herself. That morning, standing in the kitchen staring at the Wi-Fi name, something in my chest went quiet. Not angry. Not yelling. Just quiet. I walked into the living room. Sarah was on the couch scrolling through her phone like she owned the air in the room. Hey, I said calmly. Did the Wi-Fi change? She didn't even look up. Oh yeah, she said casually. I updated it?
Updated it.
Yeah, I needed a stronger password. Your old one was weak. I stood there for a second. My old one. She finally looked at me annoyed. Well, it's basically my place right now, so I just handled it. I laughed. Actually laughed. Your place. She rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. Oh my God, relax. You know what I mean? No, I said quietly. I really don't. She leaned back into the couch. You work all day. I'm here taking care of things, cleaning, organizing, cleaning. She had literally filled my sink with wine glasses. Then she said the sentence that changed everything. You should be grateful someone's actually turning this place into a real home. The room went silent. I just nodded. Yeah, I said softly. You're right. And that was the moment I stopped arguing. I went upstairs, opened my laptop, and started making a list. Because here's something Sarah never understood. The house wasn't just mine. It was as entirely as mine. Every bill, every payment, every piece of paperwork, and every legal right. Over the next 2 days, I didn't fight her once. She got louder, more confident. She told people on the phone she had moved into her new place. She posted photos on social media from my kitchen. She even ordered a wooden sign online that said, "Welcome to Sarah's home back." I watched it all quietly. Meanwhile, I made 3 phone calls. First, to my internet provider. Second, to a locksmith. Third, to my lawyer. By Friday afternoon, everything was ready. That evening, Sarah left the house with her friends. They were going out to celebrate something. I don't remember what. The moment her car disappeared down the street, the locksmith arrived. 30 minutes later, every lock in the house had been replaced. Then I logged into the router. The network name changed again. Now it said, my Wi-Fi VAS new password. Only I had it. I packed Sarah's 2 suitcases carefully, folded her clothes, placed everything neatly inside. Then I set them on the front porch, along with the wooden sign that had arrived earlier that day. Around midnight, my phone started ringing. I watched it buzz on the table. Sarah, I let it ring. Then came the texts. Why can't I get in the house? What did you do to the locks? Tis, I sent Fian Y. Finally, I answered. Her voice exploded the second I said hello. WHYRT Lokies Kanji. I kept my voice calm. Because it's my house? You can't just lock me out. You mean the house you said was yours? Silent, she snapped. I love you, Tia. No, I said quietly. You stayed 1 night. That was a week ago. Exactly. She started yelling, threats, accusations, calling me selfish, heartless. Then I said the one thing that finally stopped her. Check the porch. Another pause. I could hear her walking. Then the creak of the wooden step. What is this? Your things. You can't just throw me out. I didn't, I said calmly. Her returned them. Her breathing got louder. You're unbelievable. I leaned back in my chair, looking around my quiet living room. You changed the Wi-Fi? I reminded her. That doesn't mean. It does, I said softly. Because when you renamed it Sarah's house, I let the sentence hang. You forgot whose name is actually on the deed. Another long silence. Then she said something quieter. You're really serious? Yes. She didn't yell after that. Didn't argue, she just hung up. The next morning I woke up, made coffee, and opened my phone. The Wi-Fi connected instantly. Strong signal. Perfect connection. And for the first time in a week, Total knew something was wrong the moment my key stopped working in my own front door. I stood there for a few seconds, staring at the lock like it had betrayed me personally. I tried again. The key went in, but it wouldn't turn. Then the door suddenly opened from the inside. My sister, Sarah, stood there with her arms folded like a security guard. "Oh," she said casually. "You're home." I blinked. "Why doesn't my key work?" "Oh, I changed the lock yesterday," she said like she was talking about moving a chair. For a moment I thought she was joking. "Changed the lock?" "Yeah," she shrugged. "The old one was kind of weak." I looked past her into the house. My house. And everything looked different. The couch had been moved. My dining table had a giant vase of fake flowers on it. There was a rug I had never seen before. And right above the TV, a wooden sign that said, "Hamelskom Hamas," except underneath it, in smaller letters, "Sarah's Place." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "A week ago," I said slowly, "you asked if you could stay one night." She leaned against the doorframe like we were discussing the weather. "Well, things change." "Things change." "Yeah," she said. "You're barely here anyway. You work all day. I've basically been managing the house." Managing. That word hit me harder than the lock. I stepped inside. "You changed my lock." "You're being dramatic," she said immediately. "I'm being dramatic. It's just a lock." I walked past her without another word and sat down at the kitchen table. Inside my head, two choices were fighting. Argue. Or wait. Sarah had always been good at arguments. But patience. Patience was my specialty, so I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said. She looked surprised. "Okay. Yeah," I shrugged. "If you're comfortable here, stay for a bit." Her entire posture relaxed instantly. I could practically see the victory forming in her mind. "See," she said smugly. That's all I was saying. From that moment, Sarah became the queen of my house. She invited friends over. She hosted wine nights. She told people she had taken over the place. One afternoon I even heard her laughing with someone on the phone. "My brother lives here technically," she said, "but it's basically my house now." I didn't say a word. Instead, I made a plan. Step 1 started quietly the next morning. At the bank. You see, when our parents passed away 5 years earlier, the house had technically been left to both of us. But Sarah never bothered to deal with paperwork, taxes, insurance, mortgage refinancing, all the boring adult responsibilities. So she signed something back then. Something she didn't even read. A full ownership transfer. To me, she had forgotten that. By Wednesday afternoon, I had copies of every document, stamped, signed. Legal. Step 2 was even easier. I called the internet company. I said politely, "I'd like to reset my network." Within minutes, the Wi-Fi shut down. Every device in the house disconnected. 5 seconds later, Sarah yelled from the living room. "I'm fixing it," I said calmly. Then I renamed the network. New password. Mine. Step 3 happened Friday. Sarah was in the kitchen complaining loudly to one of her friends. "This house needs way better management," she said. I walked in holding a folder. "Sarah," I said, "we need to talk." She rolled her eyes. "What now?" I placed the folder on the table and slid it toward her. Read page 3. She opened it casually, then frowned. "What is this?" "Ownership papers." "For what? For the house?" She laughed. "You're joking." "Keep reading." 30 seconds passed. Her smile disappeared. Her eyes moved faster down the page. Then she looked up. "What is this supposed to mean?" "It means," I said calmly, "this house legally belongs to me." "That's not true." "You signed it?" "I would remember signing that." "You didn't read it." Silence filled the room. Her friend slowly stood up and slipped out the back door. Sarah's face turned red. "So what?" she snapped. "I still live here." "You do?" I stood up. "You stayed one night." "That was a week ago." "Exactly." She slammed her hand on the table. "You can't kick me out." I opened the front door. 2 suitcases sat neatly on the porch. Packed. Her mouth fell open. "When did you?" "While you were telling everyone this was your house." She stared at me like she had never seen me before. "You're serious?" "Yes." "You'd throw your own sister out." I met her eyes calmly. "No." I nodded toward the Wi-Fi rotor blinking in the corner. "But the moment you changed the lock on my door." I paused. "You already tried to throw me out first, for the first time all week." Sarah had no words. She grabbed her bags. Walked to the door. You'll regret this. Maybe she expected me to argue. Maybe she expected guilt. But I just sat back down at the table, opened my laptop, and calmly typed the new Wi-Fi name on my house, because sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it's just quietly taking back what was always moment I saw the new Wi-Fi name. I knew my sister had crossed a line she couldn't walk back from. I was sitting at the kitchen table after work, opening my laptop like I had done every evening for years. The network list popped up. The name wasn't anymore. It said, Sarah's house. At first I thought I was seeing things. I refreshed the list. Still there. I tried to connect. Wrong password. I leaned back slowly in my chair and stared at the router blinking calmly on the shelf, like nothing unusual had happened. Then I heard Sarah's voice from the living room. She was on the phone laughing. No, seriously, she said. It's basically my place now. Something inside me went very still. 1 week earlier, she had shown up at my door with tears in her eyes. Just one night. She said, please. She had nowhere to go. Her relationship had exploded again, and she needed a couch. I told her yes because that's what brothers do. But one night had quietly turned into 7. And somewhere in those 7 days, Sarah stopped acting like a guest. She moved things, my coffee machine, my couch, my bookshelf. She even replaced the picture frame in the hallway with one of her own photos. I kept telling myself it was temporary. Until the Wi-Fi. Until she literally renamed my house. I walked into the living room. Sarah was stretched across the couch, scrolling on her phone. Hey, I said calmly. She didn't even look up. What's up? Did you change the Wi-Fi? Yeah, she said casually. Why? She shrugged. Because I'm the one using it all day. I stared at her. You're the one using it. Well, yeah. You're barely here. That's because I work. She finally looked up, annoyed. Why are you making this a thing? Because you changed my network. She laughed. Oh my God, relax. It's just Wi-Fi. Then she added the sentence that told me exactly who she thought she was. Anyway, if I'm living here, I might as well organize things. Living here. Not staying. Living. That was the moment I realized arguing would be useless. Sarah didn't believe she was wrong. She believed she had already won. So instead of fighting, I smiled. Fair enough. She blinked, surprised. Really? Yeah? I said. If you're comfortable here, that's fine. Her shoulders relaxed immediately. See, she said. You always overreact. I nodded. But inside, I was already planning. The next few days were fascinating. Sarah got bolder. She started inviting friends over. She told people on the phone she had moved into a bigger place. She ordered decorations online. One afternoon, a delivery box arrived. Inside was a welcome mat. I watched her place it outside the front door. It said, Sarah's home. I didn't say a word. But that night, after she went out with friends, I started making calls. The first call was to my internet provider. The second call was to a storage company. The third call was to a locksmith. By Friday afternoon, everything was ready. Sarah left the house around 6 in the evening. Don't wait up, she said casually. I won't, I replied. The moment her car disappeared down the street, the locksmith arrived. 20 minutes later, every lock in the house had been replaced. Then I logged into the router. The Wi-Fi name changed again. Actual owner. New password, just for me. After that, I walked through the house quietly. Every item that belonged to Sarah went into 2 large boxes. Clothes, shoes, makeup, even the fake flower decorations she had added everywhere. Finally, I rolled the welcome mat back up. Sarah's home .6. I placed it carefully on top of the boxes. Then I carried everything outside. Right onto the porch. Around 11:30 that night, my phone started buzzing. Sarah, I let it ring. Then came the messages. Did the lock break? Hello? Finally, I answered. What's wrong? I asked calmly. Th do want open. Oh, I said. That's because the lock changed. Th loaf k. I leaned back in my chair. Because it's my house. Silence. Then she exploded. I can. I love it here. No? I said quietly. You stayed one night. Teach Masa Joe! Exactly. She started yelling, but I interrupted gently. Check the porch. I heard her footsteps. Then the door creaked. A few seconds later she spoke again. What is all this? Your things? Yes. You're kicking me out. I looked around my peaceful living room. No, I said calmly. I'm just correcting something. What? Another long silence. Then she said quietly, You're serious. Very. She didn't argue after that. Didn't yell. She just hung up. The next morning I woke up early, made coffee, and opened my laptop. The Wi-Fi connected instantly. As actual owner has perfect signal. And for the first time all week, my house finally felt like mine. Moment my laptop refused to connect to the internet. I knew something had changed in my house. I refreshed the Wi-Fi list. Once, twice, 3 times. The network that had been called for years was gone. Instead, there was a new one. Sarah's house. Sucks. I stared at the screen, waiting for the joke to reveal itself. But there was no joke. Just that name blinking confidently like it had always belonged there. Then I heard my sister's voice from the living room. "Yeah, I'm home," she said on the phone. "Come over tomorrow." Home. The word hit differently when I heard her say it. A week earlier, she had been standing outside my door with red eyes and 2 bags. "Just one night?" she said. Her boyfriend had kicked her out again. It wasn't the first time, and it probably wouldn't be the last. But she was my sister. So I let her in. That first night we talked for hours. She thanked me at least 5 times before going to sleep on the couch. The second night she said she needed couple more days. The third night she started leaving her things in the bathroom. By day 4, her clothes were hanging in my closet. Day 5, she moved my coffee maker because it looked better on the other counter. Day 6, she told a delivery guy, "Just leave it here, this is my place." I thought I misheard her. Apparently, I didn't. Because now the Wi-Fi itself was claiming the house. I walked into the living room. Sarah was sitting comfortably on the couch, eating chips and scrolling through her phone like she had lived there for years. "Hey," I said calmly. "Hey," she replied without looking up. "Did you change the Wi-Fi?" "Yeah," she said casually. I waited for an explanation. None came. "Why?" I asked. She shrugged. "Because it needed a better password. And the name." "Oh," she smiled slightly. "I thought it was funny." "Funny?" I stood there quietly for a few seconds. "You named it Sarah's house." "Well," she said, finally looking up. "I mean, I'm basically running things here right now." "Running things." I almost laughed. "You've been here a week." "Exactly," she said like that proved her point. Then she added something that changed the entire conversation. "You're barely home anyway." That was true. I worked long hours. I paid the mortgage, the utilities, the internet, everything. And apparently that had turned me into a guest in my own home. I nodded slowly. "'Kay," she blinked. "Okay?" "Yeah," I said calmly, "if that's how you see it." Her shoulders relaxed instantly. "See, you always get so serious about nothing." Nothing. That word stayed in my mind for the rest of the night. Because to her, this was nothing. But to me, it was everything. So I didn't argue. I didn't yell. Instead, I waited. The next few days were interesting. Sarah became more confident. She rearranged the living room. She invited friends over twice. One night I heard her laughing loudly while showing someone around. "This is the kitchen," she said. "I might remodel it later." Remodel? My kitchen. I just listened quietly from upstairs. But while she was busy claiming the house, I was busy preparing something else. I called the internet company, then a moving service, then my lawyer. Not because I wanted drama. Because I wanted clarity. Friday evening, Sarah left the house dressed up. "Girls' night?" she said casually. "Have fun?" I replied. The moment her car disappeared, I began. First, I logged into the router. The network name changed again. This time it said, "Owner lives here, new password." Next, I walked through the house collecting everything that belonged to Sarah. Clothes, shoes, makeup bags, decorations she had added, the fake plant she insisted made the room feel alive. I packed everything neatly into 3 boxes. Then I placed them on the front porch, right beside the welcome mat she had bought earlier that week. The one that said, "Sarah's home." Around midnight, my phone exploded with notifications. Sarah was calling, over and over. Finally answered. "Why can't I get inside?" she shouted. "Oh," I said calmly. "The lock's changed." "You can't just lock me out."
I can. I live in town.
"No," I said quietly. "You stayed one night." Exactly. I could hear her breathing hard outside the door. "You're unbelievable," she said. "Check the porch." There was a pause, then the sound of the door opening slightly. "Your things? You packed my stuff?" "Yes." "You're kicking me out over Wi-Fi." I thought about that for a moment. "No," I said calmly. "I'm kicking you out because you forgot something important." "What?" I looked around the quiet living room. The couch, the kitchen, the hallway she had claimed as her own. "You forgot whose house it actually is." There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Finally, she spoke again, softer this time. You're serious?
Yes.
Another silence. Then she hung up. The next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, and opened my laptop. The internet connected instantly. Strong signal. Perfect speed. The network name glowing proudly on the screen. As owner lives here, and